Hello everybody and welcome. In this video, I basically want to talk about methods and talk about the more advanced things that you could do with methods. So, as we talked about, as you can see, let me go ahead and just comment out these so nothing happens. And if I run it, let's just go ahead and see what happens. As you can see, nothing is printed out. That's because even though I have these in methods, we talked about if there's nothing in main, no program or nothing will happen. Think of main like the main, like the parent of the entire program. So if there's nothing inside the parent, nothing gets executed. No matter how many other lines of code appear after it, nothing's going to get executed until the main method, there's something inside of it. The main method is like instructions for it. So yeah. But now I just want to talk about methods. So again, if I uncomment out this, again, I don't want to review. I don't want to talk about this in detail because that's what the previous videos did. But if you guys, just for a quick recap, this is just gonna call a method called cookies. Let's just say I misspelled this and I tried to run it. It's just gonna tell me, hey, you calling a method, but it doesn't exist. In this case, because I misspelled cookies. That's just common issues I see when people write methods. And if I rerun it, you can see this method calls today is Friday, I love coding, I hate dogs, blah, blah, blah. And I can comment out the dog and see what that does. It basically prints out whatever's in cookies, which is all this. And the last thing that appears in the cookies method is this line right here. And then after what happens is I call I love dogs. Again, that's just a quick review. And then same thing with ice cream. And that's just how methods work. Just quick recap. Again, methods could do anything that you want it to do. For example, I could call a method inside a method. Let me just go ahead and delete all these real quick. And let me go ahead and delete it. Let me just make a method called public static void. Let me say method one. And I say system dot out dot println method one. And then let me just go ahead and do another method called method two. And then let me go ahead and print out a method called method three. And let me just go ahead and call method one here. Let me call method two here. Call method three here. And as you can see, we just print out method 0, method 2, method 3. But if you guys don't already know, I'm just calling method 1, and I'm calling method 2, and I'm calling method 3. What if I had one method that basically calls all these methods? Let's just go ahead and see what happens. Let me just say public static void call all methods. And then what happens if let me just go ahead and delete this and put this in a method. And then let me go ahead and do this. All methods, let me just do this, see what happens. And as you can see, it basically printed out what I had earlier in the main method, but now I know some of you guys are just like wondering, what in the world have you just done? I've done some magic. Not really, it's just code, but just to hype me up, I did some magic. But yeah, with that being said, what I've done is something that we should all be able to get to a level that we are able to do. What I have done is I created one big method that calls all the other methods. This basically did the exact same behavior. So let me just go ahead and see what this did. Method 1, method 2, method 3. Let me just go ahead and comment out this, and then let me just run this. See how it basically ran that. Which one would you rather see if you're a programmer? Like somebody reading the main method, which one would you rather see? I would rather see this one because I could just go ahead and look at call all methods and right away know what happens. Meaning, I'm going to be calling all the methods. That may not be descriptive, but for the case that we're doing right now, it may be descriptive. So somebody reading the code will just go to call all methods. And then as I can see, when I go to call all methods, how a method call works is the program stops, the main method will stop doing whatever it's doing, and it will first call the method that's the first thing that comes. So in this case, call all methods. So on call all methods, I'm calling method one. So how method call works is I stop the method currently and I move on to the method that I need to call. So in this case, I need to call method one. And what does method one do? Method one basically prints out method one. Then I go back to where I came from. In this case, the program is here. Now it moves on to here. It does the same thing. It stops executing whatever is in the call all methods, not like currently, and then it will go to method two. So it'll call method two. And then same thing with method three. It will call method three. So essentially what's happening is the call all methods calls all the method and it executes the behavior of all those methods. For example, I could get fancy and I could say, okay, in method one, let's just call method two. And then let's just run and see what this does. So now I'm calling method two twice. I'm calling it here, and then I'm also calling it method one. Again, let me just recap. I know this may be tricky because this is the first time you guys have seen methods, but essentially what's happening is call all methods in the main method. Like we talked about, the main method is what gets run. So what happens is we call a method called call all methods. So how a method call works is main stops executing what's currently happening to be able to run a method that is currently being executed. So for example, let's just say I had a method like here, like method three, for example, right? So what main does is it stops executing what comes after it temporarily. It doesn't mean it's not gonna execute it, it stops doing what it's doing temporarily. And then it goes ahead and it calls call all methods. And how method call works, again, I know I'm saying this, but I just want to smash it in your brains. How method call works is the program will currently stop executing what comes after it temporarily, and it will call the method that's first indicated. So in the main method, we call all methods. In call all methods, we call a method called method one. So we stop executing what comes after all methods, call all methods. So this method, we stop executing method two, method three currently, temporarily. We go to method one, we execute method one. So in method one, what we do is print out method one. And how method call works is now we have to go to the next line, we print out method two. So what does method two does? What method two does is it stops doing what it's doing currently and it goes and prints out method two. So now we print out method one and method two. So now what happens is when we print out method one, we print out method two, and method two stops executing and it goes back to where it came from. So it came from method two, and we basically execute method two. So method one, what it printed out was method one and method two. Now we go to method two. Now, and what does method two do? Method two basically just prints out method two. Then we go to method three, we print out method three. So all in all, what we printed out was method one, method two, method two again, and then we print out method three. So that's how method call works. What I personally do that helps me the most is I basically trace through all these and figure out what's happening at each iteration of the methods that I'm calling, and stop what I'm doing and figure out and know that when I call a method, I stop executing what comes after it temporarily until I finish executing the method that comes before me. Once I have finished executing the method that comes before me and I ran everything that it does, so for example, a method could call another method, call another method, call another method, it'll basically stop doing all that until the method completely finishes executing everything that it does. And that's that. Hopefully, you are able to understand this video. If not, let me know, comment, and I'll probably do a part two of this. And I'll see you in the next video.